The invisible wound. Have you ever wondered why some people struggle with relationships, even when they desperately want connection? Why do some adults feel unworthy of love, no matter how much success they achieve? The answer often lies not in their present circumstances, but in their earliest experiences. Childhood is supposed to be a time of safety, warmth, and unconditional love. But for millions of people around the world, childhood was marked by emotional distance, neglect, or the persistent feeling that they weren't quite enough. And here's what most people don't realize: that feeling doesn't just disappear when you grow up. Today, we're exploring one of psychology's most profound truths: the lifelong effects of not feeling loved during childhood. This isn't about blame or dwelling on the past. This is about understanding why certain patterns persist in our lives, and more importantly, how awareness can be the first step toward healing. What happens when a child grows up without feeling truly loved? Let's begin by understanding what the brain actually needs during those formative years. What a child's brain needs. From the moment we're born, our brains are wired for connection. Neuroscience has shown us something remarkable: a baby's brain literally develops in response to the emotional environment around them. When a child feels seen, heard, and valued, neural pathways form that support healthy emotional regulation, self-worth, and the ability to form secure relationships later in life. Think of it like building a house. Love, attention, and emotional attunement are the foundation. Without that foundation, the entire structure becomes unstable, even if you add beautiful rooms later. When a child doesn't receive consistent emotional warmth, something critical happens. The brain adapts to survive in an environment where love feels uncertain or conditional. The child learns to scan for danger, to suppress their needs, to believe that something must be wrong with them. These aren't conscious decisions. They're survival strategies that become hardwired into the developing brain. Here's the crucial part: these adaptations don't simply vanish when the child becomes an adult. They become the lens through which that person sees themselves and the world around them. So what does this actually look like in real life? Let's explore the patterns that emerge. The patterns that emerge. Adults who didn't feel loved as children often share certain patterns, though each person's experience is unique. One of the most common is a deep-seated belief that they are fundamentally unlovable. Even when people around them show care and affection, there's an internal voice whispering, "If they really knew me, they'd leave." This creates a painful paradox. They crave connection desperately, yet they push people away, test relationships, or choose partners who are emotionally unavailable, unconsciously recreating the familiar dynamic of their childhood. It's not that they want to suffer. It's that the familiar feels safer than the unknown, even when the familiar is painful. Another common pattern is people-pleasing taken to an extreme. If love felt conditional in childhood, dependent on good behavior, achievements, or not causing problems, the adult continues this pattern, constantly scanning others' moods, saying yes when they want to say no, and sacrificing their own needs to avoid rejection. There's also a tendency toward harsh self-criticism. When a child doesn't receive loving reflection from their caregivers, they internalize a critical voice. As adults, they become their own harshest judges, never feeling good enough, no matter what they accomplish. Emotional beat. These patterns aren't weaknesses. They're evidence of incredible resilience and adaptation. But they come at a cost. The cost in adult relationships. Perhaps nowhere are these effects more visible than in adult relationships. When you didn't learn what healthy love looks like as a child, navigating intimate relationships becomes like trying to dance without ever seeing anyone dance before. You know the music is playing, but you're not sure what steps to take. Some people become what psychologists call anxiously attached. They constantly worry about being abandoned, need frequent reassurance, and can become overwhelmed by relationship conflicts. Every argument feels like the relationship might end. Every period of distance feels like rejection. Others develop what's called an avoidant attachment style. Intimacy feels threatening, so they maintain emotional distance, struggle to be vulnerable, and may sabotage relationships when they start to get too close. It's not that they don't want love. It's that closeness activates deep fears of being hurt or disappointed. And here's something that surprises many people: success in other areas of life doesn't protect you from these struggles. You can be incredibly accomplished professionally, admired by peers, financially secure, and still feel profoundly alone and unworthy of love in your personal life. The painful truth is that these patterns can create a self-fulfilling prophecy. The fear of not being loved leads to behaviors that push people away, which then confirms the original belief that I'm not lovable. But here's where hope enters the picture. The brain's capacity to heal. One of the most powerful discoveries in modern neuroscience is neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to form new neural pathways throughout our entire lives. This means that the patterns formed in childhood are not permanent sentences. They can be changed. Think about it this way. If your brain learns certain beliefs and behaviors as a child to survive, it can also learn new ones as an adult to thrive. The neural pathways formed by childhood experiences are strong, yes, but they're not unbreakable. This healing doesn't happen overnight, and it's not always easy. But countless people have done the difficult work of rewiring these deep patterns. Through therapy, particularly approaches like attachment-based therapy or trauma-informed counseling, people learn to recognize their patterns, understand their origins, and slowly develop new ways of relating to themselves and others. Self-compassion becomes crucial here. Many people who lacked love in childhood are exceptionally hard on themselves for struggling in relationships or feeling unworthy. But healing begins when you can look at that child within you, the one who didn't get what they needed, with understanding rather than judgment. The journey toward healing often involves learning something that wasn't taught in childhood: that your worth isn't conditional. That you don't have to earn love. That your needs and feelings matter. Recognizing your own patterns. If this resonates with you, the first step is simply recognition. Awareness itself is powerful. Many people spend years feeling broken or confused about why relationships are so difficult, never connecting it to their early experiences. Ask yourself some gentle questions. Do you find yourself constantly seeking approval from others? Do you struggle to believe compliments, even when they're genuine? Do you feel like you're always one mistake away from people discovering you're not worth their time? Do you choose partners who are emotionally unavailable, or do you find yourself sabotaging relationships when they start to feel too good? Do you have difficulty expressing your needs, fearing that being too much will drive people away? These aren't signs of weakness. They're clues pointing back to unmet needs in childhood. Recognizing these patterns isn't about blaming your parents or caregivers. Most parents do the best they can with their own histories and resources. This is about understanding yourself with clarity and compassion. Once you begin to see these patterns clearly, you can start to make different choices. You can pause when old fears arise and ask, is this fear based on what's happening now, or is this my childhood survival system being triggered? That pause, that moment of awareness, is where change begins. The path forward. Healing from not feeling loved in childhood is a journey, not a destination. It involves learning to parent yourself in the ways you needed as a child. This might sound strange, but it's about providing yourself with the compassion, validation, and care that we're missing. Many people find healing through therapy, where they can safely explore these wounds with a trained professional who provides the consistent, attuned presence they may have lacked. Others find support in close friendships, support groups, or through practices like journaling, meditation, or creative expression. One powerful practice is what therapists call reparenting yourself. This means speaking to yourself with kindness, meeting your own needs without guilt, and setting healthy boundaries. It means celebrating your accomplishments and comforting yourself during difficult times, the way a loving parent would. Healing also involves choosing relationships more consciously. As you become aware of your patterns, you can seek out people who are emotionally available, who respect your boundaries, and who offer the secure, consistent love that builds trust over time. Something beautiful often emerges from this work. People who do the hard work of healing often develop extraordinary empathy, depth, and emotional intelligence. The very wounds that caused pain can become sources of wisdom and connection with others who've struggled similarly. You are worthy. If you didn't feel loved as a child, I want you to hear something clearly: that wasn't about your worth. Children are inherently worthy of love, not because of what they do or who they become, but simply because they exist. You were worthy then, and you are worthy now. The fact that certain needs weren't met doesn't define your future. Your childhood shaped you, yes, but it doesn't have to limit you. Every day presents an opportunity to challenge those old beliefs, to choose differently, to write a new story. Healing is possible. Connection is possible. Feeling truly loved and valued is possible. It requires courage to look at these wounds, patience as you learn new patterns, and compassion for yourself throughout the process. You are not broken. You are someone who adapted brilliantly to difficult circumstances. And now, with awareness and support, you can learn to thrive, not just survive. The effects of not feeling loved in childhood are real and significant. But they are not the end of your story. With understanding, support, and commitment to growth, you can create the secure, loving relationships you always deserved. You are worthy of love. Not someday. Not when you've fixed everything. Right now. If this video resonated with you, know that you're not alone. Millions of people are on this journey of healing from childhood wounds. The path forward begins with understanding, continues with compassion, and leads toward the connection we all deserve. In our next video, we'll explore practical strategies for building secure relationships as an adult, even when your childhood didn't model them. We'll discuss specific techniques for managing anxiety in relationships, communicating needs effectively, and choosing partners who can meet you with healthy, secure love. Thank you for being here, and for having the courage to explore these difficult but important topics. Take care of yourself.